maybe it was a virus, maybe, I'm not sure what it is, we'll have to look at it this morning. But it was, when the food line plugged that server, everybody came back up.
Okay.
What is a virus? I mean,
What is it, what?
What is a virus?
It is a program, it's a program that people have nothing better to do, so they write these programs that actually corrupt your computers.
So in other words, it kind of hampers how the data, I mean, how you can access stuff. Okay.
And there's multiple kinds of viruses. One that can completely wipe your computer, or one that can just mess things up on your computer, or one that will just tie up bandwidth because they're constantly sending out viruses to every computer it sees. So, if people, the world would be great if people wouldn't, I mean, they purposely
Well, it's
programs.
just like anything, you know, the internet, it's got screens, people find ways to abuse it and this and that, and so, yeah, I see it. It's like cars, I mean, people drive cars crazy, I think it's abuse, I mean, you know, but you have to be very progressive.
Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
How are you?
Okay.
Ashland Sports Authority, fitness.
Thanks, okay. I had three of them last year, and I just couldn't figure out what that for.
The only thing I see is on the handrails. I think the handrails, I think there was another additional amount. It was 2 handrails.
1882.
But you approved one of them earlier.
Oh, okay.
You approved the north side
Okay.
earlier. It was the east
The
side
other
that
one
you had
that
a
we had
question.
all
Oh,
didn't,
okay.
he just had them stapled
That's
together.
why I-
That's why.
That's why I only did the $500 and some
The
dollars.
additional one. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Mr. Chairman, I'm all right with
I have one, it was, Kirk, it was Kirk Walden.
Oh, Kirk Walden,
Yeah,
okay.
instead of Kirk Clifford.
K-
It's okay.
K-U-R,
Pardon?
Kirk, K-I-R-K?
K-I-R-K, Kirk, and then
Okay.
Walden, you can spell that one. I always misspell that one.
W-H-L-G-E-N-G-H.
Instead of for Clifford, okay.
Otherwise, didn't we give Chase
entertain a motion, to approve minutes with revisions.
That's so moved. Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jim Lacy's coming up at 10:45 minutes. Okay.
If he get back on the computer, he'd know. Did you guys want me to call, I kind of left the meeting the other day, and not clear, do you want me to call Texas and see when they can come up next week?
Yeah, you were past, you guys are one, other one of you.
I won't take long, I'll call them and see either day, and then I'll have to see what time works for them. Cause are we still planning on a meeting at 3 p.m. on Monday? The 17th, right?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's okay.
So everybody's clear enough, but I want, if I talk to them, I want to make sure that if that works better for their schedule or something, or maybe they might come up on Monday. I'm trying to get Monday or Wednesday. Okay. And then, do you want me to write up the letter about the summit? I have, and, let you look over it if you want to sign it, but I've got all the council's information, actually, it's got emails for all of you, but I suppose probably have to send an official letter.
I think we just sent an email on that. I don't necessarily want to use a letter. We can try to send an email.
So we need to make, I think you need, I don't know, to me, we need to make.
You would
make it-
send one letter to the actual council?
Yeah, I visited, I talked to, well, Karen won't respond to me, so, but I've been to Lancaster, Muskota, and Effingham, knows. But I told them we officially needed to let them know when it was, I'll give them a temporary idea what the agenda is, and, so that they can get back with us right at first year, how many of their council people, because we need to.
Okay, so Karen never responded, just but I never responded?
I wrote her a letter, almost a month ago, asked when they're, I couldn't, maybe it says on here, I didn't look at this closely, I just printed this off last night. First print off I got, I never could find when their meetings were. Okay, here it is, it is printed on this one, it's third Mondays, so 6 p.m., so I could still get to the meeting this be this next Monday, wouldn't that'd be the third, so, yeah, okay. Well, any event, I just was, wanted to show it personally, each one of them, and, of course, Trey will look at me, just so we get head count, and I think we probably need to include their clerks, if their clerks want to come. And, but, cause I told some people, it's just basically the governing, the councils, your clerks, the commission, and then the media here, and for the supper, the meeting after that would be open for people to observe and listen, but it technically would be a kind of a meeting among the government, elected people, so. And got confirmation from Nathan.
Nathan Everline
will come and, moderate the sales tax issue, and, otherwise, haven't got confirmation from Don yet. When I talked to him down here, it depended on how the board meeting, he thought he could maybe, if we didn't put him on till a little later, he maybe could make it, so, and he'd like to share that with us. So, anyway, I'll draft up a letter and run it by you guys, and if you want to send that email, can you?
Well, that's usually like, even like us, a lot of times we'll get it.
Right.
We'll print out an email.
Just so we get some kind of confirmation that mean, I think everybody's pretty aware of it now, but it just, I wanna make sure that we have everything covered, so I'll work on that. I mean, just so it's clear, so we don't drop the ball
Yeah,
on that, so.
yeah, we should get something hopefully finalized on it by next week.
Yep. So, yeah, we need to get it out so that they all will have one more council meeting, well, except here in the meeting Monday. All of them will have, another meeting before, prior to the summit, so. It's almost 9:30.
Yeah. Well, that's
If you take your time coming up, well, it'll be 9:30.
I'll sit down with all that. We received 3 bids, one from Foster Ford, one from Clark Chevrolet in Holden, and one from Lewis Chevrolet here in town. Foster Ford's was for $31,050.
Well, I did,
Clark Chevrolet was for $32,046. Lewis Chevrolet was for $31,057.26.
21?
26 cents.
31,000, what?
$31,057.26. So it makes for a difference between Foster Ford and Lewis Chevrolet at $7.26. Foster Ford's lower bidder, Lewis Chevrolet's here in town. How would you guys like me to go with that?
I do it locally. I'd have to lean that way, even though I know I prefer to fix a repair daily.
I know.
But you're driving, aren't you driving Chevrolet right now?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, my experience is really, probably Chevrolet's actually right, maybe just a little better, but yeah, and you got all the service. I think
That's it.
It's
a
nice.
no-brainer.
Yeah. I'd entertain a motion to accept the bid from Lewis Chevrolet for $31,057.56 for truck 2013 from Lewis Chevrolet.
Do I need to have them, or do I wait till January 1?
They sign it, you pay for it.
So either way, it's just,
Yeah.
but that's in the minutes that you approved, so it's enough.
And,
You probably need to put it in the minutes that approval of one purchase and payment in 2013.
Yeah, I said 2013, so
yeah.
amend that to, purchase in 2013.
And, yeah, I do think that, we'll discuss, but I think what you said maybe right when we talked about, because on the moving it to the budget, you know, when I said, well, can we take some out? And I still think we need to possibly look at that, but I know I think what we was talking about is rather than have that, because you was gonna put $20,000 in your budget for noxious weed, 20,000 there. And I think under the circumstances, I mean, we can still take quite a bit out of the ET, but I think because you used the noxious weed, I think maybe we ought to use a little bit out of there so
Which I'm fine with.
yeah, I mean, and I think I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
I misunderstood you a little before, but that's, I'm just, totally shocked at these bids. I wish I could buy trucks like this.
I know, I didn't get mine that cheap. I mean, I'm completely okay with that because, if we pull some out of noxious weeds at all, that leaves room for if we have more siren repair or something unforeseen in 2013. So do you want me to do half and half, or do you want me to do?
Well, we'll see. I think we'll tackle that. We got time whenever we
The
have.
only thing that might get sticky is noxious weeds, nothing
this is off, not off the record, but do they charge extra for red, or do you know the bid?
I don't think it costs that much.
Okay, well, I know Ford, if you bought a red, when I was shopping for my Taurus, $600 if you go red.
Really? Well, I don't wanna go red, I just, when all the birds come in, that's what they have.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate,
I
don't
would
get me
prefer
wrong,
white.
but I didn't, I wasn't aware of that until I was looking on when I was shopping, using the sticker.
So I thought it was,
I made the motion, I just need a second.
Oh, second, all right.
You're good. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You're fine.
All right, well, we don't have that lot of discussion sometimes in these motions, so that's a discussion.
There you go. Here's the plan we discussed last meeting before. This shows the future projects, and timeline, and expense amounts, and savings.
You have extra copies for those.
I do.
Press, third.
It shows the very top what our budget is, that you guys set, which is gonna change a little bit with the current GIS situation. Then it shows the projects that we have set up or in line for 2013. There's probably more projects that I don't have listed on here, but these are the ones that I can think of. And then also it shows what you would pay in-house or what you would pay for Manitron's wages. Shows how it's funded, shows your total expense and savings. Then if you flip over to the second page, it shows your, a generic timeline, I shouldn't say generic. It shows a timeline, but if we have issues, that timeline will change. If the department has something that comes up.
The network upgrades occurring, starting this month.
That's my hope. Yeah.
Sounds like it can't come too soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and with the network issues that we've been having lately, I mean, it shows that how the person doesn't come out. I mean, it shows you that several of those will be not just one time we get it up, we set it up, I mean, then you get to support it after it's completed.
These copiers we got all have high-speed scanners
Correct.
on them, so.
Correct, but do you wanna pay an employee for 4 or 5 months to go back and scan everything we've had, or do you want to call a company and I think we'd probably stay on old records that we need to scan and get in electronically. I think it would probably be cheaper if you had a firm come in and do that cheaper and faster than it would be to pay one person from each office to scan that copier 8 hours a day, or I don't know. It's, we'll just,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what we could hire somebody to do it for either.
exactly, or that, I mean, so there's multiple options for that one, so that's why I put a question mark on this, and man hours for that one.
What did Roger ever, one time they talked about upping it to 30 hours, but did he say, I remember him saying he couldn't maybe get up to 30 hours?
He was told that he didn't wanna work more than what he currently was, but I don't know, I mean, that's something we also need to figure out.
Well, that's why, I think that's, part of the reason I wanna, talk to Jim, because I think in just a brief conversation, and I haven't, got all set it out in my mind exactly what he's thinking is that he was wanting to, go back and move him. I mean, to me, here again, I'm kind of simple, but it doesn't matter. He could be under IT and still work for Jim, the way I look at it, but he's saying move it back into his budget.
So whatever you guys deem necessary.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to find out. I'd find out from Roger, because I thought your figure's a little higher, because the figures that I was working off of was what we was originally setting, and it may be, it might take a little more, but to hire an IT specialist, but we had 37.4 in the budget, and you've got 41 now.
I presented 37.4 for the budget, and then we were talking that might not be enough, and so this is, I actually didn't, I mean, these are the numbers, I got these from Chase.
Right. Well, that's why I'm trying to balance out here what's actually in the budget, so we don't,
Yeah, this is actually what is in the budget, because these are the things from Chase.
When you have that conversation with Jim and or Roger as far as what we could do with that going into 2013.
Well, we're gonna start our network upgrade in 2 weeks or so, right after the first of the year, so probably when we started. And I need, if they're gonna allow me to hire an IT person, then I'm gonna have to get them, get an ad paper and start interviewing. Otherwise, we're going to have to pay Manchester Next Tech to come in and do it. We can't do it all.
well, that's, I have just basically 2 questions. I see a need for, one, but is this, you're talking about all these projects, your guest, that's just a little bit over a full time, which of course then, as you fill in and stuff then too. We get these things in place, is there truly justification for 1.5 positions in the future?
In the future, I mean, your IT is just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You're never, ever gonna have.
Yeah, my question is because I know what my son-in-law deals with.
But your son-in-law works for Cerner, correct? Is that where he works? Does he work for Cerner in Kansas City?
Well, it's over on the Park Medical Center.
Okay, so hospitals are completely different from a county. They have, those computers are actually workstations, they're not computers. They work with one software, and that's all they do. All of the county computers have multiple softwares. They're not locked down tight to where you can't click this button, you can't click this button, you can only click this button. I mean, so his experience is 100% different than what we have. You can't compare what he has to what we have. I mean, I can bring in Mike Gold with the Aspen Hospital director, and he can explain it to you, because I told him that your son-in-law told you that one person could take care of 500 computers, and he said he wanted 3 of those people, because the Aspen Hospital has 300 computers, and they have 8 IT people. I mean, you look at Jefferson County, you look at their IT department, they have 5 plus an assistant director and a director. I mean, and actually, I have all the counties. Jefferson County. Yes. And they're wise.
That's why they're middle 70.
Yes, I'm not saying we need 5 I'm not saying we need 5 plus assistant director and director. I'm just saying if you look throughout the counties, which I've done, and I can bring you that paperwork to show you what other counties are doing.
What's Brown County got?
Brown County pays Manatron, and they pay Manatron a lot of money.
But they have an IT, they have one IT director.
They have a part-time IT person that puts in very little time, and they pay Manatron to do everything.
Well, what she did, they pay her, I mean, what, they sure they pay her.
A lot of
That's, cause she was, in my opinion, she was a county clerk.
Really.
You want Pauline to do double duty as IT?
No.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I did IT prior, and I didn't get paid extra.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is, you know, this lady, she wanted to become the IT instead, and so she did seek the county clerk, and I mean, that has nothing to do with
Yeah.
trying to ask Paul, no, I'm not.
I know.
You can't work in Brown County or Pierce County, because they're not.
Not totally.
Not even close. They're half the population we are, so they have half of the.
They got a lot of state departments, so.
They do, but their departments are smaller and do less. Brown County.
Don't say that in front of them.
Well, I'm not.
You're talking about like, when you say Pierce size, 10 to 30,000, is that what you're talking, county size?
Yeah, yeah. Brown County. I have them on the Brown County population 9,900, almost 10,000.
So Manatron's really $125 an hour?
Yep. Plus when you have them show up, it's $400 trip charge.
Is that them or Benetech?
That's the next step.
Next.
Good. Don't have Brown County's wage comparison because I got off your side count.
Yeah, I've been trying to access, of course, the KAC, that's where I accessed when I first came on, looking at 2009 was the last time they did a salary comparison, so I don't know.
The easiest is what I did is you call their kind of clerk's department.
Well, that's about the only way I think you can do it, because I think that I'm not sure they put that information even on their website, so.
Sure.
Not really to interrupt, but, that's something that's been discussed on the county council's list, is doing that wage study again. And, so I'll bring that up with Melissa.
Yeah.
This will be the time to do it because it's a little bit of downtime, so.
It does surprise a lot. I know I spoke with him about that, and that his goal was trying to do 2012, but he's not sure, just with the workload they had on the studies, Casey was sure. I'm sorry.
That 41,000, is that benefit package, or is that on top of the 41?
That's just salary.
Correct, benefits down below, which you've already laid out, which is.
You can figure somewhere 45, give or take, percent extra.
Employee benefits will be less too, because you're eliminating one.
Oh, yeah, right, well, I mean, yeah, I figured that if Tony, that was, if his figures were in there, that's roughly a close to $50,000 savings. I'm still adding here stuff, so, yeah, I see you've got enough to do, I'm looking down the road.
And down the road, you're just saying.
And this is what concerns me about technology. I mean, it's pretty good job security in the technology field.
Well, there is, I mean, and as we go more, I mean, there's always gonna be bigger and better and newer and more, more.
Well, yeah, I
more
understand,
cost-effective.
and here again, maybe some of this stuff is hard to quantitatively evaluate, and that's what always raises a question in my mind, and if you can't evaluate it kind of quantitatively, is there, can you truly justify it, I mean, to the taxpayers and stuff, so yeah, I mean, I gotta have somebody work on my, the only way I can work on it is smash it on the floor.
Don't do that.
You know, I don't plan on doing that, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, it's much cheaper, I mean, $19.50 an hour versus $125 an hour.
So, cheaper, we don't hopefully, not cheaper doesn't mean good quality work, so.
Well, even like Maybe you might wanna explain exactly what happened with
Well,
that.
I mean, what happens is we don't do routine maintenance on all of our computers because there's not time enough in a day to get that done. They all, even with one person, you still won't, we should be looking at our computers at least once a quarter, hands-on, physically going out and looking at each and computer once a quarter. That hasn't been being done. And that would stop what we did there. These offices, if they can't work on a computer, they don't work. So, I mean, when they call, there needs to be someone there instantly to fix their problems.
When I was talking more about the bandwidth,
Oh, the bandwidth issues that we have, I mean, we're working on, with our network upgrade that will be starting here, we'll be going from 5 meg to 30 meg, and that'll fix our issues. I mean, in the past, 5 meg was okay, that was enough bandwidth for the county, but, I mean, as you can see with technology improving, we are using more bandwidth, and we're having to upgrade. That shows firsthand how much, where we came from and where we're going, so. I mean, Holly, what percentage of your job is actually using the internet? Of your office, I should say. I mean, all of your software is on the internet, with the exception of the AS400.
We don't have, the only thing I have on there is, election.
And your time clock, and all of that.
Time clock is very minimal though. I wouldn't say any more than 30%. Most of ours is through the AS4.
Which your time clock, everything's through the internet on that one. And Linda works a lot on that, does she not?
On the time clock,
Yeah.
just pulling stuff over, but everything else is on the AS400, so it's.
The treasurer's office is 100% over the internet, well, not 100%, 80, probably 80%. The appraiser's office is almost 100% on the internet. Register of deeds, I couldn't tell you. Probably down around that.
I know the DMV system has changed, and we talked at the KC meeting, several other county personnel that had said that it created a burden or workload on the overall system.
Senior village is changing to what, they don't use internet very much, but they will.
Appraiser's on, appraiser, that's all,
Orion?
yeah.
Everything is web-based.
Yeah.
They use the AS400 for personal property a little bit.
It's a lot of projects, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I'm
improvement.
not arguing that, but the thing I hate, is I wanna see some continued, if you continue down that road, we need to have some sure clear justification as to, particularly anytime we go into new projects, that they do have, there's plenty there to do, which I'm sure you're saying that there is, if there's gonna be upgrades, but, I think we do still need to look at it as we go into another year, budget years, is do we need one, that there is justification. The only other figure here, and I know we're getting splitting some hairs per se, but, is the reason the benefit package or the employee benefits only figures about, I say only 36%, that's further low, is that because Roger doesn't get a benefit?
right now, I don't think
He doesn't, if he's part-time.
Part-time,
he doesn't.
he's not receiving nothing.
So that's why that, in proportion, that particular, in this department, that employee benefit is lower on a percentage. And that I always look at, each department's a little different, it's based on sometimes, the amount of usage that the employees, use, whether it's family or what other kind of plan.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's why, I just didn't wanna cut anything too close there, so I'm guessing that's probably why. So if Tony was getting the full benefit, there'd actually be that's not taken off there, so it'd be just a little more savings
Yes.
than what, you said there, so, okay. So now, is 41, this is a new position, you're gonna have some training, is it gonna take that much to hire somebody?
That is my top number.
No, I understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, here again, depends on where you're at, but I mean, most, from what I've seen, most of them started around, at least, around 35.
Yeah.
I mean, here again, my son started, but, Overland Park's gonna have a little higher, but I mean, so, that answers my question, okay, so, yeah.
Probably depends on experience too, I would
Yeah.
assume.
So do you feel really comfortable, I know you've got estimated hours, that all this stuff between you and this person can accomplish all this stuff?
Yes, I do feel confident that we can do it between that. In fact, I'm sure that there's going to be more hours than what I listed here, because there'll be other routine maintenance and projects.
Right,
and
I
other
understand,
people
yeah.
don't.
Well, and of course, with you, you've got some of your time period in there, that will, you've got some flexibility there. I guess what I'd really like to see as we venture into this though is as, by the time we get to budget year, let's see, how much more work we got, or let's have some plans in place.
I hope to implement a tracking system in 2013, which is not on here, that shows which office we're at, how long we're there, how often we're there. And then before 2014, we'll have another list of projects
Yeah,
lined up for next year.
I guess the other question I have is, are you willing to take on the title head dog?
I think I've already got it.
Well, you understand, I mean, we need, right now you're the
Yeah.
go-to guy. I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta have, somebody's gotta oversee this other person.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's gotta bring us in some of this accountability and
Exactly.
stuff like that, so
I mean,
that's my point.
It won't be changing, I mean, none of that'll change, because I'm already the one that brings it all into.
Right, I understand, okay, but I mean, I don't think that was ever really made clear to us, or if it
Right.
was, I mean, I was off in left field or something, but, I think that's, people need to know, we need to know that that's kind of an understanding and stuff, that you're the one we're gonna
Correct.
call, and if you got a question, why this isn't getting done. So,
Exactly.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. You're still probably looking at, it could be close to February before, if you advertise now, it could be February before you got somebody in.
I realize that. That's why I wanted it.
But the one advantage you got is there's kids graduating the semester.
Correct.
And so, I mean, there's, I don't know what, are you, is it somebody gonna have specifically trained in?
They're going to be specifically trained in servers and routers. Yeah, because I can do servers and PCs, but I'm not trained in routers.
So will that, and I'm not trying to put in a spiel, but I know places like DeVry's and those kind of places who really specialize in stuff, I mean, do you feel that might be, not to say that you're gonna get any candidates, but I mean, is those?
We're probably not going to get too many people from DeVry, because typically people that go there start off on a much higher wage scale than what.
Because they're specially trained.
Because they're specially trained. We'll probably get someone from like DC or K-State or KU that went through information systems.
We get to screen that, don't we?
Do what?
We get to screen where they come from.
Yeah. We don't. We don't. Well, I mean, there's some, Low Tech does a decent job, not so much in, we would just have to see how that happens.
Oh, I'm just asking that from my personal, information, I mean, that, you can get somebody that knows probably a lot about computers, but if they don't have some specific training for what we're kind of
Correct.
looking for here, why, then you're probably, gonna lose some downtime in training and then learning.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that, do we have anything, or will we have anything built in eventually in the budget? I mean, this is kind of like anything else, you look at continuing education. I mean, I know it's not here now, but what I'm saying, I'm throwing that out there in the future, because, that technology changes, so,
That's
I mean,
right.
you can read that, but I mean, there's nothing more like going to a 2 or 3 day seminar and seeing hands-on exactly what, this and this is
Well,
really.
exactly. I mean, they'll get continuing education by using
question, or are you gonna talk with any,
I'd like, I want to say this just a little bit, I will be willing to make a decision on giving direction on the 17th, after we talk to Jim, and maybe even we could, if we have to talk to Jim, get confident about his faithfulness and not using that position and stuff, I'd be willing to make a decision, so.
well, I think he's just trying to get some direction as far as.
Right,
the draft
I mean, I'm leaning that way, but I
The
want
IT
to look this
side.
over a little bit more, and I want to hear what Jim has to say, but I mean, I'm not trying to hold you off, but we could even, probably, we may be able to do something later today, before we leave.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner the better, because.
Yep.
And you talked with like, Dr. Schmeisner, or as far as like description and,
I'll get all that.
okay.
I mean,
He'd be a good
I already
resource,
have
I
a
know
generic
that.
that I used from
He's
him.
out of Jefferson County.
I already have a generic that I used from him, when I tried to hire my
Okay.
assistant,
Okay.
for what needs to happen, how it needs to go, so. Because all their applications and job descriptions are online, just the way ours was, so.
Okay.
Yep. And I've been down to talk to Dr. Smythe several times.
Yeah, that's good. Big time on
Right, well, I will wait to hear from you. Thank you.
Like I said, we do the sooner as we can. Because I understand the situation.
Yeah, I mean, let's just.
Just get Jim's computers loaned out.
Yeah, here, I'll let you have my copy.
He'll have all the
Go ahead.
We did have a whole
Thank you.
last night, and when it came up, I guess some people did it wrong.
Hit the wrong setting when it popped up and says you want to join this network. I really fix that. Have a great day. Don't forget to drink your water today. 12 o'clock.
Sir, did you have something with a sense?
I have a question about the city's trying to get everybody to get a scrapping license. If I apply to that, would that make you considered a business? Or salt waste issue?
Wait, do you live in the city of Atchison?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking if you get a city scrapping license that impacts,
Or is that you guys consider me as a business and raising salt waste?
well, it depends on if you have like a dumpster or what you dispose of trash, that would be based on what the solid waste you would be based upon.
You're not listed as a business right now?
No.
Okay.
I don't want it.
This wouldn't affect it. I mean, if he's talking
Not
about the
immediately.
present fee, he listed there.
Right, they're supposed to start that first year.
Well, it's based upon your present status.
Yeah, your 2012 status as far as tax incentive.
Yeah, not that much go up.
You know.
Now, I got a storage building in here, and it's considered residential, I guess. If I tear that building down, will that $61 come off of that for residential?
You need to talk to
de-
Chase on that.
Yeah, if you're demolishing a house,
If I do demolish it.
then you need to file like an appeals, form. I mean, you haven't done it.
No,
Correctly.
I don't know, consider it.
Okay. When,
You can't store it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would, it's probably gonna be when he does, when it's completed, he can't do anything before it's torn down, but when you do complete tearing that down, then there's an appeals process appeals form that, our project manager, Chase Brunig, is not up here right now, but there's a form.
When did you ever catch it?
He's been downstairs in the appraiser's
I
office.
was there a while ago. I talked to him once, but it took me 3 days to get it.
But probably need.
It might be down in my office, I'm not check there.
Okay, he has do you have
Office
his
in
phone
the
number?
basement.
Yeah, do you have his phone number as well? Okay, he'll be up here probably a little bit later or something like that. If you wanna leave some contact information, in the clerk's office or Chase to contact you, you can do that.
Well, I talked to him once. He said he couldn't give me answers.
If he could prove that it's been vacant, he wouldn't have to tear it down, is that not right?
Is it
Yeah,
vacant structure?
I just use it for storage.
Yeah, if you can prove it's been vacant,
Yeah, it's
you're
not,
due
if
to
you
12,
approve it's
yeah.
not residence, we
Right.
could, yeah, of course,
Since
it's used
I
for
own it
storage,
for 10
maybe,
years, so.
may have to look and see whether it's listed as a commercial or something.
Yeah, so you need to get with Chase and
Well,
file
I
appeals
don't want to
form.
turn it commercial.
Right, I don't know, without looking at the coding, that, I understand that there's a coding system on there, because I know I've got some other people, I mean, we have, we've been shopping, at a residence, there's no building, I mean, there's no residence there. And, you know, we would charge $61, well, it is a working shop, you know, it's part of our business, and I don't have a problem with that, I mean, because that's legit, but again, if it's serving a purpose, it may be, I don't know, I can't, I'm not gonna sit here and say for sure that it would qualify, but I would sure appeal.
Yeah.
But if you're not gonna use it, you wanna tear it down, it's safety property tax.
Storage.
Yeah.
They done broke in and got everything back.
We'll have,
Fine, all.
we will have, Chase give you a call, he should be up here later today, but we'll have him, give you a contact and get that appeals process going.
Okay.
And you're gonna probably have at least another 30 days, I mean, the appeals process, we won't get it done today, I mean, you've got,
Sure.
in fact, they should be getting a letter on it within, at first next week, a letter.
We'll do it by the end of this week, if we
If
get
it
stuff.
gets out, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just one of the businesses.
No, it's going to everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's going to everybody. We failed to get the letter of explaining the appeal process, didn't get put in with the tax statement, so we're reissuing that letter of instruction, so, and the appeal date will be extended, so. So if you probably have, you know, I think we said to the 31st is what you said.
Yeah. We'll have Chase give you a call as soon as he gets up here and he'll coordinate an appointment with you and go through the appeals process. He'll have appeals form probably on hand. We have one on the county, it should be up on the county website too, I believe.
I'd suggest before you leave, unless you're on
I
time
can't
schedule,
remember.
just walk, you can't miss him, he's not 6'5", 6'6". And check either the treasurer's office or clerk's office or downstairs, so.
So those words I heard with my mom too.
No, he's easy to involve, so worry about that.
We'll have him give you,
Yeah.
we'll have him contact you. We do have a group here that, supposed to get going at 10 o'clock, so.
Now, ordinance, too fast, that ordinance 1345. That you guys, the city.
What?
Ordinance 1345.
Oh, scrapping
On the scrap.
Oh, that's City of Atchison, that'd be City of Atchison.
They passed it.
15.5
No,
is our
we
resolution.
did as well, but it was a mandate from the state.
Oh,
We had to.
who's supposed to enforce that? Sheriff's Department?
Right now, we don't really have,
I asked that before downtown.
Well, I
Said they
think
didn't
it's
know.
Northeast Kansas Environmental Services.
Oh, EPA.
Well, KDB, yeah, environmental, yeah.
KDHE.
It's indirect.
indirect or.
Yeah. Yep,
You're speaking Angel.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Chase, you want, he's got a couple questions.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got a meeting with the,
Come
Let's
on.
move on up. How are you all this morning? Good.
Kathy, we'll talk about your questions, ask you and Joe about the
Oh, the one,
memorial thing
okay,
before we,
okay.
after we get this all cleared up.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Mike.
Before I do this, I'm gonna give these to you, Joe, these are all the copies of this metal set that Mike gave us,
Okay.
as well as a copy of all the plans and specs, and then also has the addendum and an ASI memo for both the restroom and the elevator electrical upgrades. Pauline, do you want to see with the plans and specs as well? Okay. Yeah. So you want to put it back tomorrow? I'm liable to walk out and take those back.
They have a sign-in sheet for the public hearing.
You need to probably make a motion on the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to, open public hearing on closing the CDBG grant, for, our elevator.
So,
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There's a public meeting scheduled to close out the CDBG project that received $55,000 to construct, an 80-foot contained elevator, which has been completed and installed and is in operation.
Anyone is interested, the Aflac representative is over in one of the interview rooms. Please feel free to go see her. She has some good information.
I don't know.
And see if there's any public comment on the elevator, and then any complaints.
There was a question or malfunction, right? I guess the public has to bring that up.
Was there an issue with I don't know, the elevator, is the elevator working correctly?
The elevator one day, a lady was stranded in it because it stuck just off of the court floor.
Oh, okay.
I called the elevator company that installed it. They sent somebody right up. The fire department was called by the emergency button. So they came over and assisted her out of the elevator right away. Then they came up within a couple of hours. They said that there's a tape, which I assume is like a cable that has markings on it that lets the elevator stop at certain levels. And at the very top, the way I was explaining was there's a, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a magnet that's so long that apparently, and I think the magnet is for it to stop before it crashes up against the top of the shaft. And what they had to do was break a piece of it off, and I guess they've had this problem with several elevators, the recent elevators that they've installed, and it's been a fix for all of them, so we're pretty confident that it will be a permanent fix for it. The next day I did have the stenographer for the court say that he called the elevator and it didn't come down from the court floor. Tom drove the elevator and checked all up, down, and everything was fine. The only thing, it stopped a little abrupt at each floor. So I called him back and I told him I was very unhappy with the elevator right now because we cannot have it stalled and stuff. So we sent the guy right back up. He checked everything from top to bottom. He didn't really find anything wrong. He did a little adjustments where it stopped right and out, as it's supposed to. And it's worked fine ever since.
And that was the same thing. I didn't realize it had happened, but I talked to Joe and he filled me in on what had been going on in the problem. And I talked to a gentleman with Tyson Crut named Roger Harding, information I got from him, and he's part of the maintenance department, kind of in charge of handling the maintenance of the elevators. And he explained the same thing, what had happened, and said they had come up to get the problem solved with the magnet, and then the next day when they came, couldn't really find anything that was necessarily wrong with it. He had also done the audit in November, and everything was fine, was good. So he felt very confident that everything was fine with the elevator. And that's not to say that there may be some tweaks or something that might have to be done right after it's first installed. He said it's not uncommon for them to maybe have a couple callbacks on average in the first year that an elevator is installed. You think about the amount of mechanical equipment that goes into those and getting it just adjusted perfectly, and take a little bit. But he felt very confident that everything was fine with the elevator, and we looked at it. Reed said he was down here last week or week prior and rode up and down on it, and he was good with it too. So.
And I didn't know what was going on Monday, so I didn't even know this took place, but we were gone on the weekend. I read the paper Sunday night, and I thought, that must be a reprint. I know they're not having it. I was talking to Joe, and Joe told me what was going on, so I thought it happened last Friday or something, but I guess it's done a couple weeks ago, or? Yeah, so I didn't even talk to the elevator company. I called Sarah, and so she would know what was going on, I think, so she went ahead and called. So I haven't even talked to the elevator company myself, but.
One thing that we do have as well is the year-long maintenance period, and that goes with anything that's part of the construction project. So they're certainly going to come back and take care of things if there is any problems. And I told Joe to just let us know if there's anything that comes up, just so that we can kind of help be your advocate to get any problems resolved as well.
Yeah, I think it was good that you called them straight instead of doing the
Oh,
this
certainly.
prolongs everything.
Yeah, in a
but-
situation like that, yeah.
Yeah, just let us know.
Well, they've
We know
given
what's
us an
going on.
emergency number and they've assured us that
Yeah.
whatever they're working on, they will drop and come here.
Yeah.
And that's their standard operating procedure, if somebody's stranded in an elevator.
Yeah.
And they gave us a number, we wrote it on the wall in the control room, so.
Yeah, that's great, I'm glad it happened that way, so you got it done that quick, and I'm glad that they responded that quick too, so. How high was it up when it,
She had to step up like a foot.
'cause I had visions of maybe 6 feet off the floor or something, I'm going, oh.
Squeezing
It's
on the
not
side a little more.
good, but I
They
mean,
just assisted her up and it was about a
Yeah.
foot.
how long did she have to take
I'm
to get
not
her out?
exactly sure, probably about 20, 30 minutes by the time the fire department figured out where everything was.
Because when I heard it, I thought, oh, don't tell me she was in there for 2 hours or something. I'm glad to hear that.
That'd be the old elevator.
Yeah.
And just having one stop would be pretty scary for somebody, so.
Well, hopefully, like I say, that, they're a good company, a
Yeah.
big company, so.
Yeah, they're a reputable company.
But fortunately, now we have where they push the button, they actually talk to the 911
Sure.
dispatch, so they're reassured that help is on their way immediately.
That's good, it's a nice feature.
Yeah, where the other one, they ring a bell and somebody might or might not have heard.
At least we know that, Brooks.
Yeah.
With the text.
No.
It's not 100% sure, sometimes it works.
Well, like I said, hope it won't be any more problems, but anything, any little glitch or anything, why, call them or let us know or
Yeah.
whatever, because we can cut it off so that it works, whatever, so.
There's tons of electronics and mechanical things in it, so
Yeah.
it's made for safety more than anything, so.
And that's-
And that, I don't know if there's this or anything else. Do you have questions on?
Well, I have a question for Cassie, really isn't part of the public hearing, but I understand there might be an opportunity for a loan through MOCAN for financing the project. Does that ring any bells? Joe had mentioned it to me. She called me back this morning, Megan did. Oh, okay. And, she was asking more particulars about it, and, I told her that, just anything she found, I'd love to bring it to the commissioners. But there are, there's different loans out there, or has been, I don't know if there is right now, but, through the federal government, state government, whatever.
Is there a motion on the small business loans?
Now, hopefully we qualify for that. Okay. Well, Joe's on top of it, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, she's researching it right now, we're in the very initial stages of it. Just any help to do these projects, I'd like to bring.
So are you looking ahead like on the Memorial Hall thing, is that what you think may possibly get it on?
Yeah, just anything that would help with any of these projects. I mean, we have other projects like the windows in the courthouse, it's, if you look at them, they're getting awfully bad, so. And if we can get, some sort of assistance with the loans, then that's what I was looking at. Doesn't hurt to ask, I mean.
Right.
And the only other thing we have, since there's no other public comment, is the last request for funds that will be submitted with the closeout packet. I did receive Joe's in-kind work, which will be updated on page 2. This is for how much,
Well, I don't know.
the last drawing class is for, this is 55,491. And then we are about the grant.
That was zero out, and
Yes.
the final request is how much,
55,491, and it's gonna be out. This was 2 dates. County has received 109,300.
so that would give us a total for the entire grant.
164,800.
Okay.
I think the only thing, Mike was telling me that there's been a little question on a radiator that came up, and you know the problem a little bit better than Mike, probably better than I can.
Joe called and there was a radiator coupling that was fitting that was dripping. And so, anyway, we came up, that Monday? I think Monday or yesterday,
I think that's when it started.
yeah, and anyway, Clark came up, and by the time he came up, it quit dripping on the floor. He said it wasn't a big puddle, of course, I know. But anyway, so we called the plumber, and a plumber came up, and it still wasn't dripping. We put some cloth underneath to see if it got wet. But the radiator was cold, so it wouldn't pump it through. And then, so we didn't do anything. I had to tighten them up, the fittings up. It's where, I think you had another existing, radiator in the basement when we brought up and exchanged out up in the break room. And so anyway, we couldn't get it to leak. Well, I think once the heat kicked back on, it started putting pressure on it, running back through, started dripping again. So they came back up, tried to tighten it, and it couldn't get it stopped, so he said it needs a new fitting on it, because the old fitting's defective as far as I know, or.
Well, he's basically saying because the one that was there, basically had a rust where it was expanded, where it was gonna leak. So we had one in the basement, we brought it up, and he's saying that the valve that's on there needs to match the fitting that's there, and it's not. So there's a little question, is he paying for it?
Well, and I was looking at the drawings here, and what was called out was basically just to remove the existing radiator and relocate it, because we were trying to shift it to move around to work with the new elevator shaft. It really wasn't called out to do anything to it. At this point, since the contract's closed out, and as Mike was talking about me, if we get the Tate Plumbing involved, there's gonna have to be the federal wage rates that get paid. For the county, it would honestly be less expensive if you just order the part and handle it.
If it's not part of the year warranty, we can do it in-house.
Right, that's what
If
I'm
it's
saying.
part of the year warranty, then
It was just a remove and relocate kind of thing, which generally would mean that they're not really doing anything to improve the radiator. It just kind of is and move it, not really putting any work to adjust or fix the radiator as part of construction.
well, it's where the union goes together.
When it goes together.
And the reason why it wasn't caught right off is because the boiler, of course, hasn't run into it recently. And now, whenever pressure's up, you can feel it dripping. As soon as the pressure's down, then it stops, so.
Was it just the fitting that was on it to begin with? Is that
Yes.
basically what it was?
Steve just was telling me this morning, he didn't feel like it was part of the contract, because they were just supposed to take it and reinstall it,
Yeah.
so. And that's up to Sarah and you guys, what you want to do, which direction you should go.
Does anyone have an idea of how much money we're talking about? Sure, it was about $100 and, about an hour, 2 hours job. And as far as I know, we're gonna do it in-house if it's not part of the warranty, so.
Yeah, I know.
Sounding like it's probably not a part of the warranty.
I couldn't say if the existing fitting, if it was still a remove and relocate, you really wouldn't do much with that radiator.
It sounds like we almost had a change order that we didn't do a red change order on, because we didn't move it, we removed Yeah, we had a radiator that would work, it was the same type of radiator that was in the basement. Tom cleaned it up, painted it, they, somebody went down and got it, brought it up there, and installed it. Because the old one had, after we took it out, you can see where it was expanded, and it was gonna leak shortly, so there was no sense in trying to put it back, that's for sure. And now because of that, that fitting that's on the radiator doesn't match exactly the valve, and that's where it's leaking, so.
I think it sounds like it's just a real slow,
Yeah, it's just a little hit.
but it'll get worse as time goes on.
Okay.
And if we'd been able to pressure the boiler up, you know, after they got that, it would have been fixed.
I think it was, not that I want the county to have to pay for anything, certainly, but I think it's so expensive, like, what was on that radiator, it really, I don't think Kate would probably had anything in there in the beginning, even with the existing radiator, so if they were removing, relocating, it would have had to be included, but I just didn't.
Joe's getting hammered in the house, or we didn't do it.
Okay.
My fun.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
that's not work. That's not working, it's not clean.
Okay.
So that one, probably close everything out then. Okay.
We'll start working on the closeout package and we'll get back today. We can check those for funds, and I think the two authorized signatures is from Tom and from Ellen. They were the
How,
group.
do you have any idea how long it'll be before this stuff will be? I wanna think.
Soon as I complete the closeout packet, I will be down for more signatures. You know, and then we'll send that on. As soon as the state receives it, they will turn around and send us on. So about, I should have the closeout packet done by Friday, maybe come down Monday for
Okay.
signatures.
I was gonna look at it again. So,
Sure.
but I know you can't guarantee what's a normal time frame by the time you submit it, you keep the funds. Cause I think the question is that, again, I don't think there's enough money around, and I've got an account to cover everything at the time, so we believe that those funds is what's gonna make a difference.
My guess, my estimate would be within probably 5 to 7 days. So being that with the closeout package, it's hard to tell, because the normal electric fund would be 3 to 5 days, so I'm guessing 5 to 7 to the closeout package.
Well,
And the holidays are here.
well, that's what concerns me,
Yeah.
is that if we don't get it submitted till Monday, knowing the holiday season, I mean, it may be too late.
It shouldn't be, but I can maybe call and see how long their wait time is for closeout package.
If you could,
Okay?
Budgetarily, so if the elevator's working on the last, the final amount that we need to pay is, how's that amount?
but I think, my estimate, they think you just, I still can't find the accounting here, but I think we had a little $7,000.
79,000.
We're still about we're gonna need some another 3,000, so. For that.
So you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah. Is that what you know?
Three.
Well, we need more than that, cause
Yeah.
two other payouts, the electrical and the wind.
Yes.
What's the price? Yeah, they were pretty good coming down on two, one was like 1,600, I think.
Oh, okay, I forgot that.
Yeah, we had the three contracts, I'm trying to remember, I think the electrical might have had around 1,600 or 1,800 on it, maybe. And
Those two were small.
Yeah, they were
It
pretty
was the
small.
elevator that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's,
The only thing like, maybe we can take it as general and hope the money comes in for the end of the year. Plus I do have a amendment.
Membership. Well, if she'll get a feeling for how long it might be, that will help us in terms of how we wanna pay for it. We'll wanna take the rest of it out. Little cash flow problem. That's all it is. Wait a minute, everybody. Nobody has those problems.
No.
Our printer is basically.
It's a little slow.
Okay.
Okay. You got it working for you. Well, I'll just say again, you know, if there's anything that comes up in the meantime, please let us know, and we'll be glad to make sure we're following up on everything.
We appreciate your help and communication and timeliness. I mean, it seemed like initially when we started the whole thing, it's gonna be a lot slower timeline than we thought. I mean, we weren't even sure if you opened up by then.
Well, lack of complaints, because we had some people who didn't have to recruit. Knowing what you potentially have to deal with.
I entertain that, if we have any further discussions on the hearing, I entertain a motion to close the hearing. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Closed at 10:30.
You said you had questions on the one call?
Yeah.
I will do my best, please don't let me know that one I have, but
Right.
I will.
I know he-
I will attempt to fill in.
And I hope he understood your, I think our concern here is that probably it makes sense, even though we don't have as much money budgeted, to go ahead and replace the windows.
So is the windows off?
I tried to put it there, I mean, there's, the estimate he gave us was, almost ridiculous, it was
$3,000 per window.
yeah. My concern was, even though from a financial standpoint, in terms of, the labor is already figured, because if they gotta take the old window out, which it shouldn't really cost them as much to replace it with new windows, but the labor cost to take those windows out shouldn't be near as much. The reinstalling would be the same figure, so we ought to get them, you hope to get them savings. But do windows cost that much?
They can, particularly if you're looking at something that might be more historic. I mean, I don't know what he was pricing on the type of
Yeah,
window.
he just threw out.
And maybe just a ballpark figure in his head too, and it needs to be going high to be on the safe side, because the last thing I want to do is tell you something that's too low and cause problems.
Well, it's interesting too, because the windows that are currently in there are not original.
You're right.
They're something that was replaced, so that was part of our question too, is what can we replace it with since they aren't original?
Yeah, and I mean, we probably need to have a discussion with state historic office to make sure of that, what their specifics are gonna be.
Well, I think he said something.
Did he talk?
Yeah, I think he
Okay.
talked like that.
We've had a discussion since then, because the previous discussion happened several years ago, and the windows that were there they've been there long enough that they should have been historic. Last conversation I had with them was they wanted more like what was in there, if we could find documentation of what was there originally. So
Do you have pictures of what it looked like originally?
I don't know where it even is at this time, and I had talked to Reed about this stuff.
Okay.
So, and he was supposed to call back, Katrina back at the state, and talk to her about it.
And he says he's been talking with her.
One other question that I had would be, is, we're obviously a very old town, we deal with like historical society on stuff like this. Do local municipalities have authority to approve?
They can, it depends on what kind of ordinances or guidelines, like St. Joe has, for different historic districts, for different types of buildings, different areas, we have the downtown association, and it's a little bit different things, and we have the landmark commission, several historic districts, it just kind of depends on how that's set up. I haven't gotten into it quite yet to look at what might include it. I don't
seen that, I had seen that in several.
Okay.
But they can do what you're saying, but we're getting $90,000 from the state.
For lentils, not windows.
But the whole project is kind of under their control, plus we will get tax credits for the entire project.
What was that, what amount's that based on?
It's 25% of whatever we spend.
That's what we spend, that isn't on the grant.
No, it's just whatever the county's.
So if we put in, if we end up putting in $125,000, it would be 25% that,
Yeah, you probably wind up by the time you sold them at least with 25,000 unless we could get 100%, which doesn't make a difference.
You had said one time to us, so something about there's a potential, if we put new windows, was there 20% that they might pay? I mean,
They would give 25% of what you spend.
so was that what you was referring to, is, I mean, I thought when we was out there viewing the, and I may have misunderstood you, when we was taking the tour, and that's when actually this discussion started coming up, and I realized, I think, I was kind of something, and looked at proposal that said windows/windows, and we found that they was windows too. And, then you clarified that with us, but I was thinking during our discussion, you said something to the fact that there may be up to 20%, and maybe that's what you was referring to, that there would be some assistance on up to 20% if we put new windows.
Yeah, by the time you sell the tax credits,
That's what you was referring to.
Right.
Okay, all right, that clarifies.
But we also, like you said earlier, will get free installation if we do it at this time, because.
Well, yeah, it should be a wash.
It's pretty well, yeah, because taking them out will take a lot longer if we have to save them, because otherwise just use a sledgehammer or something, knock them out.
Well,
But then putting them back will take a little longer because you have to hit things, so I think it'd be
I mean, I would hope that there'd be an estimated cost savings by not having to be quite as careful taking them out. I mean, it's gonna be a little more cautious necessarily putting in new ones, but I mean, if there's enough savings there, I mean, I think we definitely need to look at the idea. My question though was is that knowing that we wanna make it as efficient, I think it's our responsibility to do the functionality of, take care of that. There's definitely some rooms in there that's never gonna be able, because of ADA, that we could ever use for nothing much more than storage space. So is there a need to replace some of those windows necessarily? And I know that gets a little nitpicky in terms of, if you can save, 10, a couple of windows are pretty good size over there. I think that one on the north side where you had where it was blocked up and jacked up and stuff, that's a pretty good size window.
It may depend on which side of the building it's on too, with the historical review, because they.
Well, most of them are on the south side.
Okay.
The big problem you're gonna wind up with that window is that's the reason, one of the reasons it's on the National Register is because of that room. That was a black meeting post, and there was a white meeting post on the other side, which was totally unheard of at the time that this happened. That's the reason why it was actually approved for the National Register, so I think you may run into some real
Yeah, it gets so tricky, and probably if you're replacing some of the windows, it almost, as you see, I'm guessing.
I mean, I'm not-
Replace, it's
Yeah.
given the opportunity, and have been trying down.
Maybe he's trying to split hairs here, but I mean, we actually had a little money budgeted if we would partner with that volunteer group that we could put towards, quite a bit of the windows and stuff. Now, the question is that, how much more would we have to come up with? And this is where I think we would have to discuss, rather than funding it directly out of the budget, the way it looks right now, is to relook at getting a loan, like you say, so we spread it out, and that gives us a little bit more latitude, and we can spread it out, which, to me, it makes sense. It's like this elevator, this thing should last for a long time, so why not spread the cost of that out over an extended period of time? Because this should really put that building back up in pretty good shape for a long time.
Yes.
Kind of long, long-term investment.
Okay.
And until I took the tour and began to see how much it's really used, I had a lot of questions in my mind. Do we need to be spending guess it boils down to, get us a good price
Let
on
me go back and
windows.
talk to, let me go back and talk to Reed and see if what he's quoting, if it was just something, you know, sometimes when they have figures in their head, we kind of rattle those off the top of our head, or if it was something that we looked at. And I don't, it's been a long time.
This was actually given to me just the other day when I needed glass. And I did go back after I was asked about the $3,000 for it, because that is a lot of money. Now, some of that is doors, there's stone doors, which are really expensive, because you gotta have paint bars, closures, and.
All the hardware is
Yeah, all that's
incredibly
expensive.
expensive for the store.
But having said that, I do have a window that we're set to come back up here on January the and I have a window to show you what they're proposing to put in there, which is commercial. And if you compare it to residential, I mean, there's no comparison.
Yeah, I wouldn't be completely surprised at 3,000 a window. Yeah, from what I remember, it's been a little while since I've driven by it, but there's some fairly big windows on that. Maybe on average, if you figured 3,000, some smaller ones might be less, big ones might be more.
And most of those openings are 3 windows, actually.
Yeah.
They're not one window, but there is one opening, but there's actually 3
Right.
sets of windows there.
Right.
But the commercial window that I have, I mean, I'm gonna be out of breath by the time I get carried up.
Yeah.
And it's just a little section.
And we need to make sure that those, if you're looking at something, that we can make sure the state historic office,
And that's something
buys off on that
Reed
too.
and I are working with right now, to
Yeah.
make sure that they, where they're at, because I cannot guess the state stores.
It's just better to just submit it and look on how the year and then it would kind of depend on the person sometimes.
And some of the savings, if you're looking at savings, there are some savings, like these here are with, windows that open, 1 to each section. So that's 3 in a lot of openings. Now, we can get away with just 1 per opening, and those are around $400 per opening. So that would save you about $800 per opening just to do that, and you'd still have your ventilation that you need.
Well, yeah, see, I think that's my point is we want it functional and meet standards, but we don't need to put a lot of extra bells and whistles on it.
Yeah, we don't want any extra bells. We
No, I understand, but the
Understood.
point is, because knowing the way we had it budgeted, why, I want to try to keep it as reasonable as we can, but, I mean, I'm all for the idea of, if the windows aren't too outrageous, to try to incorporate something in there, I mean, it just makes pretty good business sense. If we're gonna do something, we got an option to do it right and actually save, maybe 20,000, 30,000 for the difference in labor wise.
And the other thing Mike said, there's a small, probably about 5% that he's in there for, because this isn't a bid, this is just an estimate, but he doesn't want to come under it. So we start this project and then it comes in way over, definitely doesn't want that, because then no one would be happy. But if it comes under it, then
Most people are usually much happier if it comes in under it.
So there's several things
Yeah.
there, but
That happens.
Yes.
It's usually,
It does, it
it's
does.
usually easier to raise your hand in favor of them.
Yeah, yeah.
But it comes a little higher.
Much
but
more
a little
support.
bit slower.
Going back to your question on local groups, one would think logically that if the state historic office has bought us on the windows and is okay with the look of the building, that in any local historic review, the group would support that. One would think. I don't know what the
I think you're the one who asked the question.
climate is.
Yeah, well, I'm just getting opinions,
Yeah.
getting opinions and suggestions when it comes down to,
Yeah,
we wanna address that now, but, some questions that we,
that's definitely something that we need to make sure we keep in mind.
I just know in this town that's occurred.
Sure.
I know that's happened, I'm sure probably St. Joe, and like you said, sometimes there's, what, locally we know better than necessarily than state would necessarily know as far as what you need.
Yeah, so we can, that's under.
Well, I guess my fear was like, are we going back to like wooden single pane windows? I guess that was my first initial
Yeah.
fear, is that we would pay $3,000 or $4,000 to get something that.
Right, that's gonna be totally,
Yeah.
inefficient, right? And I think most historic offices realize the need to try to have something that's more efficient for the buildings if you're gonna actually use them. We're trying to work with people, so
ready to see you next year?
I think we will. Sounds like right after the
Yeah.
year, yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just,
Who's next? Well, I think it's you.
so how many topics do you wanna cover? The computer's working yet? Are they working? Working on the computer?
He's working, and been online about 15, 20 minutes, just about that.
One thing, if we do get into specific personnel, what, we may need to do executive session, just a suggestion. So, I don't know how much, maybe we just have some questions about, GIS, IT department, appraisers, how's your internet working?
Yeah, I got a couple pages of things to cover, but some might be on personnel, some might be kind of on the general side of it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're, because of the slowness that we've had lately, we're probably more than 2,000 parcels behind at this point.
And that equates to how many, like, break it down those days.
Well, they're actually only getting about 30 parcel decisions a day, they normally get 150 and 200 a day. I mean, that's how much this has affected our office. I'd like to authorize, and I do have the funds because of the salary situation, to go ahead and have at least one of them, Debbie, possible overtime. They wouldn't put very many hours in, but they could probably work an extra hour days to help to catch that out. But it won't go to if we don't get to speed.
Yeah, and that,
I mean, it's one of those situations that, I don't want to pay them overtime if all they do is 2 or 3 parcels in a whole hour. I mean, it's not worth it. It's not cost effective.
well, this upgrade, I mean, anything can proceed. I was really kind of frankly shocked at the speeds that we had with all the different departments that we had on it. But with the DMV system, the Orion system, those are huge, major loads in the system.
It's true, but we've been in on it since '06.
I know, but
And
obviously
and that was
something
even
changed.
before the the T1 line.
Sure, but the speed, even though you have a T1 line, your speed is still under 6 megs. That's not very fast for what you're doing. And the DMV system really put a big
Well, that's what I'm
drag on
wondering,
it too.
because they're still, it shuts down eventually with them, I mean, it occasionally shuts down on them, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's had that, it's kind of that contributing factor to put us over the limit on that, so.
I know, 2 years ago, I didn't have a problem. We were moving along very fast.
Well, I mean, did you?
And we're hitting it really hard in our
Yeah.
office, and still was going on pretty fast. I mean, they were on it, and I was on it. I actually had 3 sessions going, hitting 3 times just in my own office. And then they were hitting at least once or twice on each one of their computers. I mean, that's how fast we were moving.
Well, it's not just like data. We're talking about massive amounts of, readouts, printouts, maps. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's a huge pull on any type of system. But I know this morning, I think Wes had indicated he was working on it. I think he reset the network last night,
And then nobody worked this morning.
Yeah. Well, I thought he'd indicated people had
Started up, hit the wrong button.
hit the wrong server to join, so he was in there working on that.
That may be true, but he had set mine to the right one yesterday, before he did that, and mine still didn't work this morning.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm talking about the home or
Yeah.
that,
And
because he personally made sure, because I said it as office, he said, no, you need it home, and he went in mine and said it as home,
Yeah.
and it was set that way when I left last night, so.
I'm just saying, be patient. He's really trying to get AT&T up here with you. It's going to be night and day.
My patience is already on the end, you know that, so.
I know.
I'm against the wall right now.
We're working on it.
I'm gonna start swanking here before long.
Okay.
I mean, I'm to the point that, if he can't solve it, I'm ready to go call somebody and have him come in and do it. I mean, I've got a little, like I said, a little bit in wages. But, I mean, right now, I calculate we're probably lost $100 an hour for every hour we're down, so.
Are there any other entities in the county, like maybe community corrections, or have you?
Well, I could do that, and I thought seriously of doing that, but then that gets them away from some of the other things they need to
Yeah, I feel your pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten back and forth on this several times, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do we have a VPN set up, a virtual private network? I mean, you gotta have that to access the server.
I don't know what it is.
I'm guessing not. That's my guess.
Well,
If it's cloud-based, then the Orion system obviously is cloud-based, and that's not an issue. They could do it from home, but.
Cloud, Orion sits on servers at the state office.
Correct. So I'm calling that cloud. Because it's not, we don't.
But it's
But
not
yeah.
in the office.
But like getting access to your server here, you have to have a virtual private network. You can't just go home and log in without.
I can't get to our server
Yeah,
here. no.
see, we don't have that set up here. That's probably on the projects we might give us. So, anyway.
Is the sheriff's department internet different from yours? And
Wes told me I can't use theirs because of the security system and law enforcement or something.
I think that's why we're on the courthouse too, Pat. I think that's why
And
we're.
we're down over here.
okay.
Yeah, I tried that.
Well, you know, you had asked, I have a little storage at the back of my office that you're welcome to look at and see if it would help.
I don't know why this problem can't be fixed, that's the only thing. I mean, why can't we bring in another line or something, or whatever it takes?
I think Wes was researching to see what the cost would be to add another line. I mean, one thing is like we bring an extra line.
I thought he added one. I thought they did bring in a new one.
Well, they.
New line of
diverted.
what?
A new internet connection.
That's in with the
That's the
phone
upgrades.
system. But as Jim said, we were okay until, but I thought the state was supposed to have brought in, with, or internet with the DMV. Cause they were up there looking before it even.
Well, they put in a T1 line, is whatever that means, which is supposed to be a line that's constantly at a set speed. It doesn't, it's supposed to do this, where the other one will do this when people are hitting it. That's the way I was explaining, or whatever that means.
Well, and, treasurer should probably inquire because the state was offering some assistance on some extra funding for additional costs to the DMV system, but.
So is the treasurer's office on this T1?
They're supposed to be, yeah, they're supposed to be on it, and then they were supposed to put the appraiser's office, which I think they did. And at that point when we went on it, we had no problems. But then, I don't know, maybe their bigger software came out after that, which may have. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I could brought you in an IT person, you could ask all.
Well,
kinds of
at least,
questions,
yeah, the connection itself isn't, I mean, a T1 is a T1, but you still only have so much speed that you can push through, and we just don't have, we've never had, it's never been installed, but.
Do we need to get an outside opinion, and somebody else can look at it too and see what they think?
Are we gonna pay Mantron $125 an hour to look at it? I don't think that's worth it, but that's.
Well, we've already spent that in my office in the last 2 weeks, so.
With Mantron?
Well, no, I mean,
Okay.
I would have covered that cost at this point with what I lost, so.
Well, you know.
I'm getting desperate, I said.
Yeah, it's first time, and, you know, I'm just looking here at your budget, I mean, you're close to, I mean, I think there's some left in contractual services, I mean, which you could use a little bit of that, couldn't you?
We have up to almost 11,000 that we'll have extra at this point if we don't spend anything else
Right, totally, right,
between now and the end of the year.
right.
That's what, I already went through my budget yesterday.
Yeah, we just got the update here and stuff, and I, you know.
Hopefully my agrees with yours, so. That's what I'm saying, I mean, that's, I can afford the overtime at this point. Because, like I said, it won't be that much.
Well,
If you're looking.
if you're,
very
to me, if
much.
you're satisfied with that, I mean, I think you gotta look at it, it's in your budget, and if you're satisfied trying to get something accomplished there, but I'd say by the first week, if we don't have anything else for supplementing, or maybe even sooner, you're gonna need to look at get some help. And use some of the contractual service budget to get somebody, you know.
There isn't that much. Most of the stuff right now is all related to working in Orion, and there's not that many people that, I can't bring somebody off the street right now and train them fast enough to do it. That's the problem.
Oh, well, okay, so you're just mainly needing, it's, okay.
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, there's right now there's series peak bandwidth.
We have analysis that we have to do throughout the year. Those are done in what you call off-peak areas. We have new construction that has to be reviewed when we're not in the off-peak.
Well, it can't be an off-peak now if we're pulling down the system with the treasure. I'm saying
I've been
other
out in the field
users.
lately myself, doing
Yeah.
some of that
Okay.
stuff and sales verifications. Yes, we do that when we don't have the in-house stuff. Right now, well, we've got a whole bunch of data input that we have to do.
Sure.
We're just out of time on it.
Of course, they have a different like internet.
And that
He tried that one, it didn't work.
It didn't work either,
No.
Charter?
He snuck in and
I
tried
thought
that,
so.
it did not speed up.
I mean, they have
I
Charter.
think there's some departments already on. I think we diverted some.
Whatever, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not familiar.
He's trying to speed up the process to get AT&T in here. He was told, but within the next couple of weeks that they would be here to install. So, I mean, other than, it's just the downside of not having a infrastructure built on it where you could do more stuff right from home. That might be his project. He gave us a timeline of projects. That might be a question to ask if he took back up. If that's one of the projects to update the system. I mean, there's just nothing you can, I don't know what the timeline would be to add another line. I don't know what the whole cost would be. I mean, if that's 2 weeks out, you're going to have a new connection put in the 2 weeks. That'll be, blowing the doors off of what you can get. I mean, that's the downside to having DSL as your main, putting more subscribers on.
Can we ask if we've got my machine up and running?
Just maybe, okay.
He's gonna get dinner ready.
Yeah.
You just want to offer.
I'm making dinner.
There's no question, we just all want to meeting.
How about it?
Jim was asking questions about how long we'll be getting.
How are we down? We're not.
We're slow.
Up fast. Hopefully, we don't have more problems.
It's up now.
Yeah.
Well,
Mine
now,
up. Yeah, how fast is it looking like right now?
They said it's the fastest they've seen.
The last few weeks, right?
Fastest they've seen, period, what I was told.
Well, that's super.
I
Appreciate
say
it.
that way.
So what did you do to do that?
The restaurant feed server had an issue, and it was, using all our bandwidth. So we're working on that, so.
Did you pull them back off of the,
They're off the network right now.
well, they can spy without being on the network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because she does offsite backup to CIC every night, so I can't actually
She can't do manual?
do a.
Can't you do manual?
And she's got backup.
She can do manual, but she pays the.
Yeah, but that's like off-peak hour. That's what I was just suggesting, like, as far as like the peak usage, it's like now.
All our backups are at 9, 3 a.m.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem.
No,
There's not huge usage done.
no, hers has a virus on her server,
Oh,
or something like that.
okay.
We're just maxing out our bandwidth. I mean, we still need to do our upgrade that I was talking about.
And were you able to get a hold of them as far as timeline? I mean, is it a couple weeks?
It'll be 2 weeks at least. I mean, but what we
Yeah, that's what, Wes was up here earlier as far as like some proposals, he has
It's for the.
Well, that's okay. My suggestion on that is, you probably have West hire somebody, but I would actually have you look at talking to somebody else outside of here, come in and kind of analyze what kind of person you might need to fill that gap to help West pick the right person.
yeah, with some area, like, expertise as far as like, in that field.
I volunteer my son-in-law, but he works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week right now. He's the head of the IT department.
I know he's been consulting with, Christian Meisner down at Jefferson County, with other individuals.
But I think that would help to make sure, because of all the different possible things that could happen, so.
Absolutely.
That's all that I know of. Do you want to talk about, GIS? I personally think that Roger could handle the requirements of just the appraiser's office, so then it's a matter of what we need to satisfy all the other demands. I did talk to somebody from the city, believe it or not, last Saturday night, that he came up with the idea that maybe the city could help fund some of the things, because they are in desperate need of good maps. And I said, well, that's fine, we need to sit down and talk, so that's still a possibility. But he was pretty serious about at least helping some financially.
So, in other words, what you're saying is Roger can easily take care of what you want.
Just the appraiser's office stuff.
Right.
I'm not talking about 911 and all these outside requests that we're getting. That's the problem. That's the distraction. And since Tony's left and Roger's had to go to work, we pretty much told people, not until after the first year, we're going to try to give you this, or map of this, or a map of that, which is, if we don't already have it printed, we're not printing it. And Roger's able to help meet my deadline, so, because of that, but we just haven't come to that. I haven't had too many meetings with the public. They understand if you explain it to them, so. But that is, I mean, there's a lot of miscellaneous things, and there is a lot of things the city could choose to save them, in his opinion, thousands of dollars if they knew where something was.
Were they using like CAD, or something?
They have AutoCAD, but they don't have any
Person's really
good mapping. I said I told him they'd have to convert to our software, so it's interchangeable.
Would be a good solution to try to talk to somebody about it.
Well, I think so, because, I mean,
Sharing.
you know, before we, you know.
Are you Roger and I can talk to him? Roger's pretty good at relating that type of stuff.
Try to get some more information on what exactly they're needing to do. Yeah. It'd definitely be worth looking into. I mean, if both of us could share one resource like that.
Well, it make a difference here whether we go ahead and, you know, fill Tony's, I mean, may not even need a full, you know, whatever, I think that's a discussion.
I think until we can sit down and outline exactly what all the other demands are, I don't know that we want to go to that expense. Maybe I'm slowing it down, but I mean, we got a good solid mapping now. I mean, it's pretty complete with Roger's finishing out now, so.
Actually played around on those, doing some parts, you know, that stuff. So anyway, but that, I think that brings another, you know, topic or something that we could, it's not crucial that we even consider filling that position at this point. So I think as we transition into the new year and stuff, I think we can see what their needs are and what we could, you know, how much we're gonna really need, whether we even need a full-time to fill Tony's or whatever. I mean, that's open for discussion at this point. I mean, we know the money's in the budget, you know, for it, but it's, what you're telling us is we can put this off until we, particularly if there's potential other funding sources out there to help us. So I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
I may increase, or my students, hours a few more per week. Next week is only got one class, and then he'll graduate. But, he could probably pick up what I was going to do with other students in the summertime, so I was going to have to spend that, so I just allocated a little differently.
I think that worked out pretty Well, even your other interns in that work, that seemed like it worked out fairly decent for you this year.
Yeah, they did, but Kobe's got the most experience now, so there's no
Yeah.
training problem, at least I'd have until school graduates and see what happens. Yeah, he even suggested that he might want to take over my job, I says, that's fine, but it'd take a year to get the degree that you need, but there's even that possibility. But, you know, again, that's another topic we'll get into later. You guys saying, the Atchison case sold last night, finally sold.
I heard they were putting it out for bid, so.
Yeah, every time a bid comes in, they extend it 2 hours, and so it got extended for about a week and a half. We have 3 bidders that was just chasing the price up, and I think went for $1,710,000.
That was what case?
The government case.
Government case.
The big government case down there, the 120 acres and 3 million square feet case, that is 970,000 square feet of usable space.
Are they gonna use it as storage?
Well, at that price tag, they better. Because that's not a farm grant price anymore. No, whoever,
Do you have it on the tax rolls yet, or?
as soon as the ownership changes, it goes on the tax roll, yes, it does. I've already had a number of people ask me how it's going to be taxed. I have calls from all over the country on that one.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they want to know how it's going to be traded, what would be taxed at, what the rate would be. I estimate taxes and everything. That's total, depends on the use. At that price, they'd rather use them for some commercial, because we can't afford it. Some of it would be commercial. There is some hay that's being baled by farmers, so some of it could still be ag.
Yeah, not very much.
Not very much, no. But I mean,
Not very much.
that's why it's all hay.
10, 20 acres.
Yeah, the guy that didn't get it, the one that called me several times down in Lawrence, they were just investors, and they had no idea what they were going to use it for. But he stopped at $1.4 million. So I don't know these two that kept it going on.
What did it go for?
I think $1,710,000. I might be a little bit off on that.
Wow.
I figured about $1,300,000, so I kind of feel about it. I tried.
What, do you have any idea what a range, of course, here again, what could be the potential low range and high range of classification of the tax?
Most all be commercial because of the
No.
price you pay. It almost have to be,
Yeah.
you can't make it productive enough to pay for that kind of money on the commercial use.
There's property that was not,
So,
picked up.
they've got to be used for storage purposes.
Yes.
That's what it's designed for.
But it definitely will
Oh,
have
yeah.
really not much bearing on the price of the
Okay.
product. Would that be a factor in determining the value of what it actually brought, or is there an actual system that can define what the, how you're gonna rate it at? In other words, not everything just because it brings 200,000 is it really truly appraised at $200,000, so.
Well,
In other words, a cash sale isn't gonna totally dictate what its appraised value is.
Well, when you get this many possible buyers, the ones I interviewed, I'd say this is probably pretty close to market value. I mean, this was very well exposed. I talked to a number of people.
Okay.
In fact, I interviewed a few out there at the site. I took a tour of myself. And there was people who were in the business of owning caves that were out there. So it's not, the first 2 or 3 bidders that came on, like 280,000, probably people were buying it for the agriculture use. And they stopped. And at that point, then it's no longer buying it for the agriculture. There has to be some other purpose behind it.
Sure.
And like I said, the one were very knowledgeable because they already owned 3 or 4 caves. They knew what to do. They knew how to get it up and running. I mean, it's already up and running. The dehumidifier and everything's working. It's in perfect shape. So, that's cheap storage. 1.7 is cheap storage. You can't build anything with that much square feet.
We don't know what the operating costs are, so it'd be cheap.
$18,000 a month in utility expense. Now you're looking at probably 50,000 in taxes a year. But yeah, they've got a big expense. but they did that going in.
Get down there and get that plug in real quick before it go on.
I can if I get in my system.
Yeah.
Guys have any other questions for me?
No, I think that's all. Yeah, get in there and make sure it's working, so your system's working.
You're not gonna up and retire for the next 5 years, are you?
I know why we do. You wanna hire me part-time and we'll train somebody? I could still come out cheaper if you did that. For a while. No, I try to work with county to say what we can, so. Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for coming up.
There's nothing in the county, amending the 2012 budget. I did the, general fund, which I went through to pull off any additional revenues that were up there, which amounts to $100,000, which if you don't use it, then you might look at maybe moving some over into your capital outlay first. So we're not in the same boat with Memorial Hall as we are with the elevator revenue. Road Bridge, I have theirs because they got more special highway gas taxes than what we anticipated. Law enforcement, the revenue from the Bartlett Green, I figured that back in along with some other revenues. Joint communication, I have theirs because we're running short on budget and cash with that one. And Senior Village was more or less, they got more money back in on the patient plus reimbursement.
We have balance according to what we said on the balance.
Yes, So if we approve it to publish, and I publish it, and I'll be hearing on December 26th, that's about that one. So I publish it on Saturday, which would give you the 10 days. Any questions on this? Colin? Stephanie from Overland Park, Teleplus Solutions on YouTube.
This is Commissioner Shealy. Okay. Yeah, actually, we've just finished one on the telephone utilities, and we're converting our system based on that audit to a VoIP system. And as far as the other utilities, we've done studies on those here in the last 12 months. So we are covered at this time, but I appreciate your call.
So where did you get this?
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
definition of fixed property within how it could affect
I just need
there,
something.
and we're higher than they
Yeah,
are.
entertain motion, Bill.
Here's something for you to work on later on.
This is motion.
It's
Mike,
the
you want a
M&E we
second?
were talking about, how it could affect, our percentage is gonna be even higher effective than what they are. That'll give you a little background and stuff, so. The beginning, because that's gonna be another.
Mike, Tom made a motion, just, publish it.
Yes,
Okay.
second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye, sorry.
Yeah, you're fine, you're fine.
I just shared that with Bill.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
About that's just an article published from Franklin County, how it would affect their, and their, I think they've got that big effort plan, there's a lot of equipment in there that's in this property, so it's good. So,
I think it's shut down too.
is it just temporary?
Yeah, but,
I think it's kind of serious.
Christmas lunch at noon.
That leaves you from,
I think we
Goes
just
there.
might,
Yeah. It's still there.
Or wait a minute, I don't know where Tom is.
get your bucket and rig it up and play it, let's see. I'm wondering if it's looking good enough, whether we want to go ahead and pay Hayes,
Yeah, because I think they had sent, did you get an email from Hayes? I think according to the contract, part of it was paid in December. Did you receive an email from that too?
I received an email on something from Dan, but I don't know if it was on Dan. We have the bill downstairs.
Yeah, but it came back there in November, usually
Mhm.
for 30 days, and I thought they kind of agreed to wait, but I mean, if it's looking good, I thought it was gonna take, I thought maybe we'll just go ahead and
Yeah.
pay it and have it done.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Because otherwise, I mean, if there's any unencumbered, I mean, that's, should go over into the new budget.
Mm,
Yeah, a couple of them, but see if there's a total.
yeah. Yeah. Be fine with that.
Before we get forward.
Let's go ahead and issue pay on that Hayes.
Are you gonna pay the half, pay the full?
Well, I think they just invoices for half, is that correct?
And all I did was stick it down.
It was 14.
Yeah, pay at least what they sent the invoice for, I would say, and then I think that
Okay.
this second half billing, I don't know if it's even this in January, maybe March, I can't remember what it's,
6
Okay.
years. Yeah, because I think earlier it was pay half, now it's half towards the end of the contract. Because the contract's up in April.
let's see
We'll
what
have to decide, surely we need to talk to them about continuing that on. Because we did really well address it.
She just said it's a negative.
Yeah.
Imagine you got a bill and you're gonna want some pay from it.
Yeah. I guess most of my questions
Well, you know, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was up here for a little bit, I mean, he said he's gonna work over there.
Pat, this we talked on discussion, but it's, talked to Matt yesterday, we went and looked at a bridge out my way, but he wanted to know whether we need to get our we talked about passing a resolution, any unmarked bridge we wanna, it needs to be declared, because we don't have them all posted.
Well, we have a statute that sets maximum weight limits for just using a road. And so you can say there's no weight limit, but that doesn't mean you can put 8 million pounds on it, because there's a limit on what you go on the road. And that generally for a 3-axle vehicle, I think it's 54,000 pounds. So most of your farm trucks would be that or under.
Right.
And I think, as I understood it, most of those bridges would hold that weight. There's also another statute on planking that requires that if anybody's using a vehicle of great weight, I think is what the statute says, that they have an obligation to plank the road, the bridge before they use it. This might have been passed in 1925, but it's still the statute.
So you say, are we, from
I think-
liability standpoint, are we okay? then?
We're okay.
Okay.
If we wanna have one more for to put a weight limit on them, that's a good idea.
Well,
I
my
don't
thing,
know how heavy we would make it if we just had a general, if unmarked bridges are limited to X pounds, how many pounds would that be?
Well, aren't all those bridges inspected, even if they're unmarked?
Well, I think so.
sure they
Yeah.
are.
So they have an idea, the engineers would have an idea as far as like weight limits.
Well, I don't know, some of those bridges, like the one that caved in, I don't think that was ever inspected by inspectors. They're not.
It probably wasn't
not
considered
required to
critical
do
fracture,
that.
were they? They probably weren't considered a critical fracture.
We also
They
have,
don't inspect non-FAS and FAS?
yeah, that's what we had non.
So is it one that's not under the requirements of the non?
Well, boy, the state sure got a lot of requirements now,
Yeah,
because we had.
I would've thought it would have been inspected.
You'd have thought, if that was the case, why would they even be concerned whether we put a tube in there or just made a low water crossing? So apparently they had to have, fell under some inspection something. My only concern is as long as we're not, that we're definitely clear, because I can see some potential, the way some of this equipment is getting bigger, that people are gonna stretch it to the limit and say, well, I didn't know that, or, you know, I wasn't aware of that.
Do we ever figure out we're able to recoup any of the expenses from damage done, or?
I think we are, but the problem is the
Okay.
damage to the bridge wasn't worth much, and that's the
Sure.
limit of damage, it's not the cost of repair, it's what the value was before.
Okay.
And I thought the direction I got was that it wasn't, we didn't want to pursue such a small amount on, now, there's two different claims, the one with the
Rip the boards off, that was definitely, that's a pretty clear cut liability.
yeah, and I think that one was a little easier to repair, but, the other one, I thought the direction was not to pursue.
I don't know if we ever, could we ever?
Well, we haven't made official notice, I think we just kind of indicate what, you know, and, I don't know, what do you figure the value of the bridge at? I mean, it
I'm assuming most property casualty insurance would cover expenses on that. I mean, I'm just trying to think, you know, knowing some of our bridges and the age and
Okay.
I know like several counties around us have done similar stuff, but I mean.
well, I don't think you're really asking me if they've got it, like I said, it's probably not unreasonable if they've got some insurance, if you get a little compensation. I mean, the nice thing about it is if we get this approved and put that tube in, that's a real big plus for us in the long run, so. But $3,500 bothers me, but if we can save $20,000-30,000 rather than putting a bridge back in there, that $3,500 is pretty reasonable, so.
And I don't know how you value a bridge. Because there really isn't a market for used bridges.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
2002 Saturn, you can find another one that was sold for a bridge.
Yeah, I think this one was pretty much, I can't say, but it looked to me like it's pretty much all wood. I don't think there's any heavy little concrete and those stuff, so.
Yes, it is.
Anything else? Chase, had any questions on statements getting out, or done work?
We're still working.
Well, are we still on target, or, I mean?
We're trying to get the abatement.
Okay. So we'll be able to issue out the statements.
We're trying to get our side and move it over to, I mean, I think there's some out on, they're all pending over on the treasury side. We just had some problems with even abating some 2010 and 11 ones, and there wasn't any uplift on them. We're gonna go back in to issue it.
Make sure they're correct.
They were all correct.
Okay, sooner we get that out.
So I think all the other ones are, I
Okay.
told them to ship them over yesterday, but
Okay,
it's in her court.
so the treasurer, Sheila's got it. Okay.
And I think he had some ads,
Okay. Yeah, definitely we need to get those One question I had was, so like on our system, we got 3 different systems, so you use something different than treasurer and appraiser?
No, it's all the same. What, on taxes?
Yeah.
No, it's all the same, but everybody has, usually it's generated in the appraiser's office if it's a change in value,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes up to us, and then that's how the statute is, then we move it over, or change to the, whatever our part is, and then it goes to the treasurer for her final, because it's a tax roll.
Okay. So
You're
it's
changing the tax roll. But specials, we implemented them on our side, because it didn't have anything to do with the appraiser's office.
Okay.
The specials are not. So, Chase did that, we checked to be sure, and there was some that were not right, and we're correcting them. But most of them, I think, were moved over yesterday.
Okay. So we're still on target, hopefully, to get those out today.
Her job, or her office,
Yeah. Just to make sure we get that stuff out.
if Chase can help her in that, then.
Yeah, we need to follow up on that, make sure that.
Well, that's what I thought, maybe he'd come out.
Well, he may be in conference,
Just get me close.
Where are you?
You anything? Oops.
Any comments there?
Well, I got a question. One guy says we need something, and the next guy comes in, and I tell you, Rob, he says he prefer we wait on the IT person.
Well, that's the GIS position.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, no, that's different, that's different, I mean, no, it's just that the new structure had all the GIS and IT in it. And he's basically saying that part-time GIS guy, and he didn't ask us today, and I don't know that that's crucial, that it gets moved back necessarily into appraisers under his, I mean, I think he can still jurisdiction, and use him.
Yeah, it could be separate, but just.
Exactly, so I mean, that's to me not a big issue, so, I think what he's saying is maybe if we can reassess, we may not need to hire till middle of the year or something, if the city's wanting some access, maybe we can partner and get some funding from them, because, when we look at it, I mean, they have probably more parcels and stuff that they need to access than the rest of the county, but that's just kind of one of those things that I think that we can definitely look at as partnering, with, and I'm sure open if they're willing to help with the funding, I mean, stuff, because we're looking, Tony's job would have been close to by the time you put employee benefits, it was roughly $50,000 worth of salary and stuff. And so, if you could recoup half of it, that's significant, so. Anybody hungry?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn
11:30?
11:30.
What's second? That's motion made today.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
They give their spiel a little bit longer than
No,
the two, I wasn't sure. about
Yeah,
that.
noon is, yeah. You're going, aren't you?
That was why.
Yeah, I told him.
Well,
No, you're still going, aren't you?
Jeff said he got called about 10 minutes before it was gonna happen, he called me
What's that?
about the opening, she had no.
Dolly.
Yeah, the Dolly Bottoms, I got called.